Very good evening, and we are back with another power packed webinar, and we will do Kaam Ki Baat. So today's Kaam Ki Baat is again an interesting one. Considering the topic, we choose the topics which are very relevant to today's time, and we have been hearing news about the employment industry, the job industry itself, how is it faring, and mostly the news that are coming are negative ones. Okay, so the topic for the day will be future of employment industry and the kind of panic, the current panic that has been created in the minds of the entrepreneurs, job seekers parallelly, is it actually logical or not? So we are back here on the third episode of Kaam Ki Baat, and the topic is the current panic about the employment industry is logical or not. And our two favorite words that I always use is logical positivity. We want to infuse positivity backed with logics and statistics. So how about hearing from our experts? Let me introduce you to our panelists today. Shri Rajiv Ghosh, he is the Chief Executive Officer of Selwell One Group. I always term him as the OOH advertising boss. Out of home, whenever you go out, you can see a Selwell board around. He is also the member of Board of Advisory at Amity Online. He is no doubt the pride of City of Joy, sharing the same college, Xavier's, and also a strategic advisors and knowledge sharer. Our second panelist today is Srimati Sonia Singhal, co-founder at cajobportal.com, chartered accountant and MS Finance. She is managing home as well as work life beautifully to the T, empowering women working from home from Kolkata. That is what her mission and the goal is. The next panelist today is Mr. G.R. Reddy, founder of USYS Consulting Limited. He is the pride of HR industry, my friends. Reason being, he is the founder of the first HR company which is listed on the National Stock Exchange. Also a yoga follower himself and the founder of Jimin Sports. He is hailing from the city of Pearls, Hyderabad, and here to talk more about the employment industry. And the best for the last, as I always say, Annapurna ji, our constant favorite, our moderator, founder and CEO of Emotionalytics and Company, chairperson of Women Economic Empowerment Forum, ASOCSHAM India, and hailing from Bengaluru, which has recently been registered in the top 30 places promoting startup ecosystems. And here I am, let me introduce myself as well. I am Gaurav Agarwal, son of my mentor, son of my mentor, husband to a superwoman and a Bhagavad Gita follower. I am intentionally hailing from Kolkata itself, a fellow Zavarian and a chartered accountant by academics, and I say an HR by default. I am the co-founder of SMVA Consultants and Co-Founders Planet with one mission to empowerment more and more candidates. We are on a mission to empower 1 lakh plus candidates by 2021 through our HR franchise network. So let us get started. I'll pass on the baton to our favorite Annapurna ji. She will take over. So over to Annapurna ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you for consistently bringing week on week different topics and different panelists. And I sincerely await and prepare for this panel. I am there on many other panels, but somehow for me this has become a routine now. And getting to know new people, getting to meet my friends. Of course, Reddy Garu has been my friend from long time. I was quite happy to say that okay, today we both will be sharing on the same dais. So again, one more power pack topic for us to discuss the future of employment industry. Is the current panic logical? Okay, we will go around on this topic and we will share a lot of views from our panelists on this topic. And I'm sure the viewers will have good takeaways from the next 45 minutes of what we are going to discuss over here. Stay tuned and be on your toes to listen to us there. Well, I will be first talking about, now that with this last 3 months of the pandemic and the whole of COVID which has come in our life, we have seen that increase of remote work is the new normal. To succeed in a world of increased remote work, hiring managers should prioritize at what to see at the talent and how to retain their talent and attract the talent. So, Mr. Reddy Garu, what is your views on how the hiring managers have to prepare their strategies to attract talent, hire talent, and retain talent?
Thank you, Annapurna. I think it's a pleasure to be with you, and it's an honor to be on the panel. I think it's very important, more than a hiring manager, I would term it as a business owner. So anybody who runs a business is very important to understand. And there are a few things that are important even to sustain the work from home, or this thing is, having a meaningful work is very important. And also ensuring that the overwhelmingness, should not be there in the people. Only then I think they'll succeed well. But however, from an hiring manager perspective, the kind of skills that they should be really looking at to build, to hire the best people definitely is, at least on my, what I foresee from a business owner perspective, because if I'm hiring, because I'm part of the HR itself. One is, of course, the self-motivated individuals, which is very important. How motivated are they? And also how independent work behavior, can they be on their own? I think that is one of the most important things. Also looking at how can they collaborate in a remote working environment. This is something is going to be collaboration and independence. Being a self-motivated people are going to be the key. And one more very important key aspect is now I think gone are the days that we're going to call them into a training room and train them and all that. Even though we've been talking about it, but people don't, unless we are pushed to the corner, we are not really changing, right? So I think COVID has actually done a great job in terms of pushing us to the limits. And now it's the learning capabilities on the go. So I think these are some of the very important aspects that the hiring managers would really look into the future of our work.
Okay. Yeah. Super. Thank you so much on giving us that concept and the clarity as to what hiring managers are looking at while hiring people and things like that. Sonia, while we talk about all of this and it's online and everything is going digital, so what in your thoughts and views, what are those key digital skills that you feel are going to be critical for the future employability?
Since I am working in finance recruitment field, I see that there are a lot of MIS reports that needs to be created in all the organizations. Now, when it comes to MIS, they're looking for people with skills like who can prepare MIS dashboards, which can be presented to the board, the stakeholders, the maybe the CEO, the CHRO, anybody. So what happens is now now that AI is coming into the place, these dashboards can be prepared by AI itself. So there are a lot of business intelligence tools that are coming, which are integrated with the ERP. And then these dashboards are regularly updated themselves. They don't need to prepare, need people who can prepare these. So now the focus will shift on people who can interpret these reports. So more of people going towards interpretation, towards knowledge sharing, towards understanding the reports. So these kind of skills, digital skill sets would be required in the coming future.
Okay, yeah, great. So Rajiv, if we have to, already we have seen that what are the hiring managers seeing, Sonia is telling what are the type of digital skills we require. So I would like to say that, hey, separation of critical skills and critical roles, separating critical skills and from critical roles shifts the focus to coaching employees to develop skills that open up multiple venues for them. Rather than focusing on preparing for a specific next role. So if that is what is it what needed right now? How are we seeing these skills getting impacted, and what type of skills? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Hi. This is a very interesting time. I would say we have accepted a few things, and maybe the first few weeks, maybe the first couple of weeks, we were trying to understand and wait that, okay, this is just a time for 3 weeks that this will happen. There'll be a lockdown and then we'll be back in the normal and doing business as normal. So we were just waiting for the first 2 weeks for the things to go away and become normal, because that's what we had heard, that this virus would last for just about that period. But very soon we realized that this was not the case. Globally, we could see that things were not improving. And so obviously everyone realized that the change is here. And it's a beautiful change. Uh, the country has been wanting to go into the digital way of doing things. Um, all the various models and the modules have been looking at how to get into the digital space and eliminate a lot of wastage of time, effort, documentation, follow-up, etc., 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 which comes on and does not really increase the value of a person's effort. Now, this is a time and space when we can see that the skill sets that are coming in right now, and the way the workers are adapting to it, the way the companies are realizing that what they have to do. Like Sonia has already mentioned about AI, that is going to become the way ahead. Like we are getting into a position where we are realizing that we will perhaps never again meet the customer. We could get into a situation where we do not ever again meet the customer.
Yeah, that's true.
So what now? It's going to be an interaction, perhaps with a requirement which is also non-personal, and the person who's going to service is also going to be non-personal. So this is a machine talking to another machine, and both machines are going to speak to each other, get the best deal, get the best for both companies, and bang, you get your delivery also. The supply chain is also going to be completely automated right from the manufacturing zone. It will come down. So it's going to be very interesting, and it's not going to take too long. It would have taken too long if we had wanted to sit down and do it in our own pace. But now it has to be done, because the product which is going to be manufactured in Ludhiana, if it has to reach Bangalore, it cannot reach by way of any more interactions by humans. It'll take, like, through these kind of mechanisms, it's going to become normal. Yes, now coming back to the question of roles that are going to be placed, the reskilling that is going to come in, it's all about reskilling. So the companies have to also learn very fast and adapt that how to match the workers to these skills, to the new roles and new activities. There will be workers, because there will be a relationship that will be required to bring X to meet Y by way of the products. So there will be, but these skills will be completely different from what they had to do earlier, because now two machines are going to analyze what needs to be done. So it's going to be different. Then the remote working is going to rely more and more on automation and AI. We cannot do anything. We are helpless now. Let me give you an example from our own industry. Out of home. So that is completely contact-based sort of a thing. So you get out of home and then you see it. But now what we are talking to the customer, to the paying audience, the clients, and also to the customers, that we will be assuring you the number of eyeballs that you get and number of interest that can be generated. It's moved away from opportunity to see, that I have put up a space and I assure you that 8 lakh people will be like going, and there might be an opportunity to see. Now what we are saying through the digitization, that we are going to assure you the audience, not only assure you the number of people, we will assure you the kind of people. So your phone number is already there. From there, they know what kind. They will analyze everything that is to be known about X, Y, and Z. So Mr. Reddy's choice is known. He likes his red t-shirt on a Saturday. So once he's passing a store, the message comes in, Mr. Reddy, your red t-shirt is there ready for you. Please come and, or where can I send it? So this is the kind of changes that are happening, and it is already there. Then the companies obviously need to have their responsibility towards themselves. When I say this, if they do not skill the people in the right way, they will be out of business very, very soon. So there is a strategy which needs to be made about the talent. And this will have to recognize the employees' digital skills. Not everyone can have the same kind of skill set. So if that has to be recognized, so there will be a digital skill set, there will be a cognitive skill set for other things. So we need to recognize them and push them into the right direction to get the optimum results. Then the social and emotional skills that are there. Now we understand that there will be lesser and lesser interaction between humans. And that is not always the best thing. You know, people at the end of the day, they like meeting each other. They like talking to each other face to face. Sometimes even a handshake, that a warm handshake also makes a hell of a lot of difference. After you cut the deal, maybe a warm hug. In India, that's okay. You can give a hug. So all these things will be missing. So there will be an emotional and social disconnect which will be there. And the adaptability and the resilience. It's a very sad case. I don't know, maybe it not be the right example, but the Sushant Singh Rajput matter that has got so much of traction. The resilience, the adaptability, these things come in, and these things come in across all spheres. The reality is that this pandemic has not spared anyone. It has affected everyone, rich and the poor, whichever industry you are, whether you're into sports, whether you're into e-commerce. Some have got it better, some have got it worse, but it has affected everyone. It's affected the way business is going to be done. And yeah, finance, she's already touched upon. I'll like to discuss on that a little later.
Sure.
That's my view.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajiv, for that elaborate and with giving with examples and different companies and different sectors and things like that. So while this is happening, Mr. Reddy, do you see that as how Gartner has put a report by telling that it revealed that 32% of organizations are replacing these full-time employees with contingent workers as a cost-saving measure, and also to be added the cost of not right talent being available. So utilizing more of gig workers provides employers with greater workforce management flexibility. Is that what trend is coming up? And that means we are going to have more of gig workforce than what we are having the full-time opportunities earlier. And should we look at something like gig working for as an opportunity for that sake? What are your thoughts on that?
So I've been working for last, I think 15 years on the global workforce, where we have been actually helping globally the workforce mobilization and also working remotely in any case. But just that, you know, with the COVID, it has hit really hard that everybody has realized the potential of that gig working and also a remote working. I think more essentially the remote working. So the gig working is going to be there in the future, and definitely the works are going to be more project based and also work based, you know, and a duration based kind of this thing. And I think more importantly, one thing that we have to realize now what is happening is the jobs are limitless and the boundaryless and also visa-less, right? And because you work from anywhere, I think that is what is the great change that is happening. So the workers are going to be boundaryless. I think that's the major impact that I see that is happening in the future. Hence, there is going to be a whole lot of things. I know companies who owns about 8,000 people across the globe and don't have an office. And they've been like, you know, one of the Fortune 500 companies. And that means that they have actually really mastered. But I think they're also paving way. And thanks to COVID and Corona, you know, scare, people have realized the potential of it. And hence the jobs are going to be more global. It's not going to be just only localized unless physically you have to be there in that location, except that everything else is going to be definitely going to be the gig working. But I think one very important aspect in this framework, because we work with about 70 plus countries in terms of the global employment. The most important thing that is very important in the gig working is the legal framework and the statutory compliance in terms of, how you're getting money, right? If the money exchanges between the countries and, the foreign exchange that happens, it can't happen just like that. I think that is one thing that need to be really resolved. The moment it's resolved, and I think we have seen in the last couple of months, there are a lot of companies who are reaching us to say that, hey, I have 500 people in India. I said, what? 500 people? Yes, but they're all gig workers. But, okay, what is the impact? I keep paying them. So that means you are actually literally violating the tax rules in the country. If they don't pay, you have something called a TDS, right? Tax deduction at source. It is supposed to be at the source. So now, how do I regularize? So I think there is a complete legal framework and compliance, which was there across the globe, but I think it is also going to come into India. Once we solve that, I think the global workforce is going to be the future. And you are recruiting not just only for a place, you are recruiting for a job from anywhere.
That's a big change. That's a really big change which is coming up. I mean, I think, and then this equality, then your geographies, your visas, everything doesn't matter at all. You can work at any work time zones. You can work for anyone. Anyone can be your employer, and multiple employers too. We can do that. So thank you for giving that nice piece of pill for sleep tonight, because yes, we are having jobs across the globe. It's just not limited to India alone. So that's a great, advantage for all of us. But coming back to Sonia, BFSI sector, especially your banking, finance sector, has done wonders by, doing, digitization in their whole of the finance and things like that. But what now Redington is telling that, see, even if we are having a good legal framework and then taking care of the statutory things and all of this is digitized for us, then it's amazing for us to do things and all. But having said that, we are seeing that organizations at this point of time, they're tracking their people through for their attendance, they're tracking their login, logout times, and they're tracking their health, conditions and things like that. So are we seeing that we are getting more into the personal space of people through digitization? That means we are collecting more of personal data. And what does this mean to even any employee or someone who is seeking for employment? Is there a kind of, somewhere that my data is all in public? That is what it is? Or as employers, are we going beyond our normal scope to collect more of information? So how do you see this trend coming up and during in the employment space? What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, the world is doing it post the pandemic, but CA Job Portal is doing this since last 5 years. So we have a virtual workspace wherein all of our team space are working on collaborative cloud platform. And we need to do this tracking because, some people have ethics. And they, whether you track them or not, the work will be done and will be done wonderfully. But this is just, say, a 10 to 15% of the total pool. The rest, they need to be pushed, they need to be motivated, and they need to be monitored. If you can use that word, they need to be monitored to give the best results. So we are tracking time through different AI-enabled tools. We are once they log in at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we get specific screenshots of their laptop, say about half an hour's time or 5 minutes of time. It depends on employee to employee. And we know that the other person is working. So a regular monitoring is done in terms whether the person is sitting in front of the laptop or not. If there is a lot of manual time that is being used, which is there in case of an HR consultancy, like we need to call up people, we need to understand their interest level, we need to assess their skill sets, and then do the other screenings and all. So that is a lot of manual time is also involved, but there needs to be, the person should be in front of the computer, the person should be noting down the conversations in Google Sheets or stuff, MISs that we have prepared specifically for that purpose. So that ways we know that the person is, yes, the person is working and he's not just dodging around that, okay, I have a 9 to 6 job, but since I'm doing it from home, I can manage my household chores in between, or I can take breaks without informing the other person. So yes, this is required because the major chunk needs to be pushed and monitored. That is that is a fact with every human being. Now, given the COVID situation, yes, a lot of household work has increased since there are no maids and stuff. The school children are not going to school, so the schooling also lies on parents. So yes, now we have made it sure that they are able to cater to those needs. But yes, even then, the monitoring does happen when they are logging in, when they are logging out, how much time they are taking for in breaks. So that ways, these reports help us to understand whether the person is working or not.
Great, superb. So monitoring has become a kind of a new normal now, because that's how you can know whether the person is productive, he is there, and we are able to track the work progress.
See, now cost pressures are on everybody. So each rupee counts. Now, productivity is something which is very important for every organization per se, even for a hawker or a stall person.
True. Very true.
Yeah, so productivity does matter. Now, if we talk about AI, there are intelligence tools that are coming in. We are also using them to understand. Those tools help us to understand whether the person is actually working or not working.
Right. Great. Things are moving towards, self-monitoring to machine monitoring to bringing out the best of the people.
Correct.
While we are talking about all of this, we are seeing another great trend coming up over there with employers, especially. Allocation of these work activities are getting altered. They are telling with the work being unbundled to bundled. Say, for example, in the hospitals, especially, we have seen that some of the registered nurses, while they are there as physician assistants, now do a lot of other jobs also. So they are taking up some more activities in the hospitals so that they can avoid many other people coming in and going out and all. We're also seeing this kind of trend coming up in the corporate sectors or in the work organization, normal employment of organizations in other sectors also. So are we saying that in the future, there could be a possibility that the work activities will get bundled up due to cost pressures, due to various other pandemic issues which are there in front of us? And how do we see this, and how are organizations trying to bundle the work activities?
Yeah, that was for me, Annapurna?
Yes, Rajiv.
Okay. Yeah. So where shall we start? We can say that let's assume the situation. Let's assess the situation that is there right now and what has actually happened. Actually, what has happened is that new skills have already evolved for the distance economies that we have now, right? There is an imbalance of the supply and demand, in the sense that there is more demand for the e-commerce businesses and less demand for the brick and mortar businesses. So there is a rapid change of skill sets that are required. Another change that has happened is the supply chain has moved away. Moved away in the sense it has moved away from being very distant, where you could get supplies from X location to Y location in a day's time. With this pandemic and so much of restriction of movement, supplies from USA are not coming into India. India is not being able to supply into Egypt, XYZ. So the supply chain has come closer to home. It's become very local, right? So obviously there has been a shift in the definition of job and tasks that are being given right now. It has changed completely, radically it has changed. What has also been accepted as a norm is to give as much of automation as possible, to eliminate wastage of time and to get optimum results, because people are running against time to try and deliver to immediate requirements because the world is changing so rapidly. So obviously the functions, the various, a business has got many functions. Many of the functions themselves are being merged. Like the function of sales, marketing, distribution. These are getting merged into a single, more of a like a seamless element. Earlier, this used to be this place starts so one activity, it goes on to the other, and the third activity goes on. That's not going to become. That's gone out already. It's more seamless and being done quicker. Uh, Operations, whether it is services operations or the manufacturing operation, they have come very tight with the supply chain. Earlier, there would be a manufacturing somewhere else, and the supply chain would take it on from there from a long. That is going away already. They are finding it. So the biggest example is Japan, who's already made very rapid progress to bring it very close to each other, right? And accounting functions. I really dread to see, but this is a fact that accounting functions will vanish. The way they are being done today will vanish. So sales, when the sales happens, the accounting function, everything related to sales, pre-sales, post-sales will get captured. Everything related to operations, post-operations, accounts payable, etc., will get captured. The taxes will get captured over there. So the requirement of accountants per se sitting there and doing things will vanish because there will be no cash transactions, there will be no banking transactions. It will all be driven through the net. There's no requirement for that record keeping in that way. It will all be automated. But what will come through majorly, that's going to be the CAs, I think, will make a real shift towards this, is going to be cyber laws. There will be a host of cyber laws which will come through. There will be a lot of cyber frauds which will come through, which will keep them busy. And the tracking of various cyber activities and the cyber documentation, cyber contracts that will come through. So there's a lot of possibility on those lines. Yeah, so this is what I see, that whole complete shift from the way things are happening right now.
So while we see at opportunity, so we very traditionally we should not look at opportunities coming in our way. Could be possible that you should be a multi-skill worker, taking more of things and giving it back to the organization is something coming up as a good trend for us.
Can I just butt in over here and speak for the employees on this point of time? The opportunity is there that there might not be employees anymore. That might also vanish. So it will be like every person then is given an opportunity to work for multiple organizations. So you have your day schedule. You have like you're open to working for 10 hours, 2 hours for X company, 2 hours for Y company. Everyone becomes a professional in its true essence. They do not have to be employed and tied down to going through the grind and the pain and the hardship and waiting for some boss or somebody to assess them and give them. They can do it that way also. They can take on multiple tasks because it will be specialization driven. So that's also
Absolutely. Great friends. So Sonia, while we are listening, these things are the future of, employability skills which are coming up. What are those sectors which you are figuring out and seeing? Because being a chartered accountant, you will know the real good trend of the sectors which are flourishing or going to be having, generate opportunities in the future. What are those few sectors which are coming up at a higher peak over there?
So from personal experience, one sector that I'm seeing a lot of opportunity is education tech startups. So being a mother of a 5-year-old, I know that schools will not open this year. They won't. So everyone is going digital. And here EdTech startups are playing a great role. There are personal tutors who are teaching you what not, even coding. My 5-year-old had a coding class yesterday.
Oh my God.
Just imagine, in our times, we couldn't even think about something like this. Yes. And they have a personal tutor who is giving his whole 1 hour dedicated to that child for teaching coding. at an age of 5, and they have a full course, say around 36 hours course, wherein the person will be a trained coder.
Wow.
So this is something that is this is the new era that is coming in terms of education. This is one thing. Then healthcare, as we all know, health has become one thing which is of utmost a priority to everyone. So healthcare sector is going to boom.
Right.
FMCGs, as usual, there'll always be demand for food. There'll always be demand for cosmetics. There will be always demand for toiletries. So yes, FMCG will work. So these are few sectors, and I'll focus on more on SMEs also. So a Deloitte might have freezed its hiring, but a chartered accountant practitioner, he will definitely need 2 or 3 people to work for the statutory compliances and all. Returns will be filed. GST has to be filed. So these things, they would be hiring. Yes, the quantum will be less, but SMEs will continue hiring even in this situation. This is what I feel.
Super. Thank you. You drove me to the next question just like that. You know, even though I didn't put words in your mouth, but then that's today is the MSME day, and who else is the best person to talk about MSME sector who has done so much in that sector? So over to Reddy Garu. What is that? Will SME and MSMEs generate more employment opportunities? And if so, then how are they going to be there, and how is that opportunity coming up? And one should not miss out on that. Your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I think in the process of COVID and all that, we forgot one great vision that our country has laid down of the 5 trillion economy. And this 5 trillion economy wouldn't have been possible if there was no focus on MSMEs. And we were just about to get that. But anyway, now I think the entire focus is shifted. But however, still there is an opportunity now that there is a growing trend that we are looking at now. Rajiv also mentioned that they're going to be one person who actually maybe works with other enterprises. So that means it is nothing but a micro. So in a definition of a micro and small medium enterprises, it is called a micro. So that's how we have now about 60 plus million MSMEs in the country. And I think already the ministry is putting up 70 million, right? So, but the census will happen in 2011 because the last census was done in the first census in 2001 when it was done, it was 18 million MSMEs. In 2011, when they actually did, it has 38 million SMEs. So 18 to 38, it has gone. And I think we are now looking at it is actually going to be much higher now this time. Maybe it will cross 70. Right, 70 million MSMEs. That means 7 crores of micro and small business enterprises. And no doubt, without any doubt, MSMEs are the highest employment job makers in the country. And today, 40% of the workforce, other than your agriculture, they're all in MSMEs only. So the biggest contributor for economy is only MSMEs, and hence the contributor to the GDP. And what happened is with the COVID invasion, now that we are also opening up the boundaries, like when we were only talking about 70 million is only when within India when we are talking about, and we just talked about the global economy and global workplace. It's all a global workplace, and anybody who's in India could be a global worker and an independent worker as well. So it's called an independent worker or a contract worker or a global staff, that is mentioned in our parlance. And these are the ones, there are a lot of global employment organizations will emerge, and which is already there across the globe. And we actually work with many of those global employment organizations, and we represent India. So that means we are seamlessly integrating about 70, 80 countries at the same time. We are actually employing parallelly on a particular project. You can imagine something is happening here, something is happening in Belarus, something is happening in South America or maybe South Africa, and at the same time everything is getting collaborated, right? I think that's the kind of economy which is opening up, and that means that everybody is going to be a micro entrepreneur. So they are no longer going to be like just a worker, for a company, but they're each one is going to be representing. And I think the kind of a educated population and also the adaptability of learning and the way that we embraced our technology, I think is one of the greatest advantage for India. Not just we leveraged English as one of the earlier thing, but I think the internet-based learning is going to be the future. And our intelligence, natural intelligence of learning anything very quick. I've never seen anybody who learns that fast. At least my experience of traveling about 30 countries, it's always about, to whatever the extent we may crib about saying that, they're not employable or whatever it is, but given a chance, everybody actually has a potential. I think that is going to be the very key for the future of, SMEs in the country. And if you see one of the initiative on this day, the MSMEs Day, we also launched a kind of a voluntary program for, the HR people who are actually in the country, who are working large organizations, can contribute back to the SMEs, because SMEs may not be able to focus on the people side, but they need some guidance, they need some mentorship. So, enable people movement is what actually we bought in, realizing that the 18 million MSMEs in 2001, in 20 years, it's transforming it to be 70 plus, is like mind-boggling. I think we are at the advantage position to leverage this.
Absolutely.
So that's my view.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm sure on this topic, if I give you one day workshop also, you'll continuously give me so much of ideas about that. Thank you so much by telling that, hey, look at MSME, that is going to be the powerhouse for India, and a lot of opportunities are going to come around that. So with that talk continued, Rajiv, do you still think that this current panic around unemployment, employment opportunities, is it still a logical one which we are talking about? That's the whole topic which has been given by Gaurav to us. So how can one work around and see that they be creative enough? I'm sure even a lot of creative ideas have just floated in the last 30-40 minutes, but still I wanted to understand from you that how can one be so creative enough to latch on to these opportunities and make his or her stride in their way during this time? So what are those thoughts from your end?
Okay. Very interesting question, because whenever I think of this and think of the panic that has set into the world, I'm actually forced to say that the world press has done a wonderful job. They have been very successful in creating this panic. They have, instead of trying to allay fears, they have been fanning the fears. They have every time blown things out of proportion, I would say. So yes, they have been successful, but if you say whether this current panic is a logical one, no, it is not logical. It's not logical because some of the features, I would say Mr. Reddy has mentioned very nicely, that there is a huge amount of adaptability which is there. That's not gone away anywhere just because this pandemic has set in. And the human breed has been adaptable right from the time it started. So that's going to stay. And we are going to adapt to these changing times. Some of us will adapt it very happily. Some of us will adapt to it a little grudgingly, cursingly, but it'll come onto us and we will adapt. The pressures that are there, we should not, we have to look at it and we have to see that, and we have to stand by each other. Especially employees have to be cared for by the employers. They have to be said, be comforted that we are there with you. Families, they have to stick with each other, not lose their patience, their hope, because this is a time which is going to be very stressful on the emotions, on the mind. And the mind has to be the master. Mind is much larger than anything else. So we need to be calm. We need to do our meditations. We need to do our exercises. And we have to look at the opportunities. Once we are calm in our mind, then only can we look at the opportunities. Otherwise, we will always look at the wrong things. We look at the negative things. When we are not calm, we constantly do that. When we are calm, then we look at the opportunities. And the opportunities are there. It's not going away. Now, like it's been spoken earlier, that new things, much larger, much more granular things, much more granular opportunities are coming up. New industries are growing very rapidly. Education, healthcare, the MSME sectors is going to open. Each individual is going to become a micro industry. They will be using their time to service not one but hundreds of organizations by their skills, and the organizations will also look at these professionals to give them their skill sets. So times are very interesting. The human relationship is something that is going to work very well. People will look at each other, and perhaps after this they will be thankful that we are living in a good time. They will appreciate everything that comes to them. So things are going to be good. The pollution and the environment has got a break. That will also be good. So uh, let's not really be lost in the panic. Not everything has gone away. Everything is there for us to build from.
Right, right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well summarized, Rajiv. So I think we have done almost all our questioning and understanding, and we are 10 minutes down 8. So I would like to give the last bit to our audience who have been waiting for their any questions, Gaurav, which have come forward for us.
Yes, Annapurna ji, I have a
Okay.
bunch of queries
Okay.
considering the floating that we have done with respect to the panelists. So one of the question is from a job seeker. He is from his hometown known as Satara. Okay, Satara is a small
Sangli Satara.
Sangli
Maharashtra.
Satara,
right.
Maharashtra.
So he is asking that shall I be in my hometown Satara or shall I head back to my workplace in Pune? Okay, so I mean, this is a question which is sort of representing all small town people or every people who are away from their homes. Shall they be more bothered about their health and the kind of pandemic this whole thing is creating, or they should consider that, okay, I will move back to my, workplace, or vice versa, somebody is still stocked in their workplace or their work city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Redgar, you can add there, but what I would, respond to that is, if he is sitting in Satara and he is able to connect and do the job, what he is having, and peacefully live and be away from Pune with not that hustle bustle of, one family not being close by, two health issues, food issues, and all of those things, then he should happily stay back in Satara, see that his connectivity is good. He should be there so that his workflow will not be interrupted, and things will be fine and smooth. Otherwise, if there is a rare emergency that he has to go there, then we should understand as to what kind of job that person is doing and why is he telling that I go back to Pune. Because I feel that there is an incomplete questioning over there. If you can give us more details.
Yes, he is considered about the job security.
Yeah, so I think
that is one issue that he is facing.
He should talk to his present employer and figure it out, and not just panic and run away and try to create more of issues for himself. I think.
So I would like to add, Annapurna.
Yes, please.
There is something called the transferable skills, right? Every person, not just you are on a CNC machine or you are actually on a computer or something. There are certain skills which are with you, which goes along with you. So you need to really look at what is those skills which can be utilized being there in Sangli Satara itself, right? And I'm sure the world has two advantages right now. Is that one is the connectivity. The global connectivity in terms of digital connectivity is so much that whether you are sitting in Sangli Satara or San Francisco, really doesn't matter, right? So if you look at one of the things that we do in outplacement, when people lose their job, when we do coaching, is one of the things to list out what are the transferable skills that you can actually utilize into another job, right? So I think the person actually look at that, what are the transferable skills that he has in terms of communication, internet usage, and learning skills, everything, and then look at who are the people who can actually provide him an opportunity, unless it is a physical work location where if there are no factories, you can't do anything. But without that, if his choice is to be in, in his own place that he's really enjoying, I think he should do that, because he can contribute back to his local economy. Whatever he learned in Pune, probably he can actually teach, help those people from a social perspective. But he can also be a global worker, he can actually work with anything, because there are no boundaries that we are talking about. So that's why the panic is not required at this point of a time, but should be able to look at what are the skills that he can utilize, and then focus in searching such jobs and the companies. And internet is a place. It's all just in your mobile. Earlier it was so tough. You had to look at newspapers and all, but everything is in your mobile. You should not be worried, I think. That's what my take.
Okay, great. So the next question is from an entrepreneur who is into the digital marketing segment. So he is, talking about Jack Ma. Jack Ma, as he says, that this year is of survival, not to consider the profits or revenue. So his question is related to that. He's saying, shall we consider the team building or hiring new people now for our company?
Should he hire or not? That's what he's trying to say. Okay. Depends on what his concern is. I think, any of the panelists can pitch in. But one is Gaurav, if he's having plenty of work with him, why should he be? Whatever Jack Ma says or XYZ says, that should not matter. What matters right now is what is his work in his hand, and whether he needs more people or less people, or can he re-augment himself and see what can bring him. Ultimately, Jack Ma will not feed him. He should feed himself.
But what essentially happens is, we are all flooded with so much influencer around. Right. So somebody, always gets influenced by the big shots talking or making some posts.
Just don't get influenced by anything called Chinese.
So he's been already retired. So let him enjoy his
retirement.
And also, because he's been an influencer, he made his money. Let's not talk about not profit, all that. I think you have to really work for profit, irrespective of whatever the situation. Because if you're not profitable, you will not survive for the future. Okay. The few suggestions that I have for you, whoever is the entrepreneur who asked me, is that just look at the schools around, the business schools. Business schools are there everywhere, right? Business schools or any schools, they have one of the best infrastructure going forward.
You got on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So you need to use some of their institutions nearby. Take some of the project trainees there. They are willing to, because now they need some digital skills to work remotely. And digital marketing is actually all about remote. So you can actually use them to actually generate your leads worldwide, not just only in India, because no boundaries. And then also to execute. You can train some of them, on your digital skills while they are in the college. And they will be of use. They can be independently working. Anyway, they're not going to go out and, do a job for the next 6 months or 1 year. So by the time you can actually take that, of course, it's a work for you. You don't need to spend money, but you are building a capability in them and you're also executing that properly. So I think that's the way you need to look at it. Team building is not about spending money anymore.
Collaboration should be a much better way to handle things.
Great. So the next query that has come in is from a person who has he wants to keep it anonymous. He is saying, I have currently pressed a pause button after working for 15 years. How can I choose my next employer?
When you're paused, why are you hitting your button now first? Okay, great question, nice. But let him not pause anywhere, I would say. Let him not pause. Rajiv, what would you say? You have seen so many people, and I'm sure with your experience, I feel these pauses, how would they help in choosing better employers?
Why not be an employer than choosing an employer?
Yeah, that's a good way to understand. Yeah, that's also a good way to think.
I think one of the pressure may be because we all live EMI lives. So probably I see the fear without even he saying or she saying about it.
So that's one thing. But then if it is 15 years, if it is 25 years or 5 years or 7 years, today, yes, there are layoffs happening. There are job cuts happening, different reasons for different employers and things like that. But if you want to choose your next opportunity, the thing is like you have multiple things. Need not be the same thing what you have done for the last 15 years. There could be new opportunity coming up. There could be new something which you already have a skill, like how sometime before you were saying that if suppose I have a set of skills that if my own, I being an employer by myself, or setting up something, or collaborating with someone and then coming up and things like that. And the whole globe is there today. Probably make usage of the internet, make usage of LinkedIn platforms, make usage of other social media platforms, connect with many other people who are like-minded to you and start off something. That should be the way I think which can help you at this point of time. Gaurav, yes, thank you. I think there goes the end of the questions. Before I ask my panelists to just give one Kam Ki Baat today. Over to you, Sonia. For our viewers, one Kam Ki Baat on this topic.
So
One word.
One word.
One word.
I haven't thought about it.
एक बात जो घर ले जाए हम. One word.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Reddy Garu, what is yours?
Be global.
Be global. Yes, Rajiv. Rajiv is on mute.
Okay, just one word, or could it be a
One word.
phrase?
No, only one word. Ek Kam Ki Baat. Yeah, it's very tough for us to give just one word because we are speakers and speakers. With one word we require from you.
Okay, I would say relax.
Relax. Wow, right. So while I'm here, Gaurav, today for our viewers, we are having 3 Kam Ki Baat. Just don't panic, relax, and be global. And then you're finding opportunities for yourself. You'll have global opportunities which are coming up for you. And definitely the future of employment industry, it is not, this is not a current panic, which is logic. It is not there. It is a whole world of opportunities. Just make it happen. So with this, I think today we are concluding our Kam Ki Baat session. Thank you, panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Reddy Garu. Thank you, Sonia, for being wonderful panelists.
Thank you so much.
Gaurav and SMBS Consultants for organizing very, very important and critical topics for us every week on week and making it Kam Ki Baat. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my extended family. And as we always say, we try and wrap up by 8. We take 1 hour from you. We do Kam Ki Baat every week, every Saturday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So next week, we will have another lineup of wonderful speakers who will come up with their perspective, and we will do another Kam Ki Baat. Thank you so much. Thank you, my extended family, the wonderful panelists, our moderator. Thank you so much. Bye.